So, this week I got a job rewiring defibrillators, and no one was as shocked as me.
Jeez.
Yeah, there you go. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Black Dog, number 26, he said, rapidly flicking through the notes there.
Wow.
Yeah, 26. Who reckoned we'd ever get this far? Hello, everyone. And, yes, I'm Lee. And
I'm not Darren.
No, you're not.
And I'm filling in for Jim.
So, the part of Elton, which would have been played by Darren, is not being played by Darren because Darren's not here. So, Jim's being Darren and Elton's being Jim.
Yep.
And Darren should be Elton, but he's not here.
You loser.
Yeah. See who's losing out now? Who's lost out now? So,
I like the way that we just shuffle up one though on the seats.
Yeah, I was going to say. If I'm away 1 week and everyone else does it, then Darren will have to be me. Well, actually, no, I don't mind. You guys pick whatever you like. I'm not there. You can all fight over who's who. Pass the talking stick.
Up yours, you losers. I'm out.
Pass the talking pillow. Anyway, so yes, this week we will be seeing how everyone's week's been. Darren is obviously not here this week. He will be back next week. And then we will move on to this week's film, which is this week's Indeterminate Weeks of Horror, which is my choice, which was a random choice pulled out of the hat, which was a 2008 horror movie called Splinter, which I don't think any of us had watched, but it's currently on Amazon Prime for free. So, before we get to that, we'll see how everyone's week's been. So, Jim, let's start with you, sir. How's it been, sir?
It's not been too bad. I say that. I did finally have the dentist appointment I was supposed to have about 8 months earlier this year.
I was going to say, back in March, wasn't it?
It was, yes. And and I was just due to go in that week, and the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And I finally got in, and I saw the dentist, and they said, well, we can put you in a double appointment and do these fillings. I said, all right, yeah, fine, let's do them. Because which was better news than I was expecting. I thought, after needing fillings doing and being left untended for months and months, I thought, they're all coming out.
Oh,
so that was an up. However, it did mean I was in the dentist chair. Well, I went in at 10 o'clock. It was 20 to 12 when I left the dentist. God.
Wow.
My mouth is still a bit sore, to be honest. I'm having a lot of work done all in one day.
Oh, Jesus. Are you going to be all right for this cast, mate?
Oh, yeah, that was last Thursday, but I'm still just a bit... Gums are a bit tender, shall we say?
Yeah, I was going to say we could go the Harpo route and give you a little horn. You could sort of squeak as we play. What do you think, Jim?
He'd be like Sooty, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
No, Sweep. Sweep.
Hey, if you want sweep.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Space age sweep.
Wow, I was going to say 1960s TARDIS is just about to land, isn't it?
That's a sweep drop in E, isn't it?
Yeah. Sweeps off with some white gloves and a glow stick. He's getting down to some banging tunes there.
He's just coming up. Sweep is just coming up.
Sweep needs to drink a bottle of water like fucking quick.
Oh, Sue's gone to the car to get the Evian.
Doing a water run. That's why Sweep never spoke. He was like the Bez of the Sooty show.
Yeah, he was off his fucking nut half the time. That's why. There you go.
Oh, and it looks like Sooty is wanking off Matthew. No, that's just Matthew.
Mr. Corbett, sir. Mr. Corbett, sir. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. No, don't tap the fucking wand. Don't tap it. That's not a wand for tapping, Sue. Oh, right. Izzy Wizzy,
Oh, my
let's get
childhood has been destroyed now.
Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. Ow!
That was Matthew's pickup line, wasn't it?
Yeah, just grab the white end and just wave it about a bit. Let's get a kid from the audience. No! FBI kicked the door in. Well, there you go. There's probably a load of under 30s all now immediately Googling what the fuck we're on about. Matthew Corbett, Sooty and Sweep. That's your Google. Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. Wand.
Yep. To YouTube.
Yeah. Or Matthew's Tube, depending on how you look at it. Anyway. The 70s was a very different time.
It was.
Sorry. Anyway, Jim, carry on, mate.
But other than that, mainly we're having a thoroughly nice time with our new doggy.
Yep.
Who's continuing to settle in very well.
Mm-hmm.
We've had her 2 weeks today.
Nice.
Feels like she's been here forever.
Nice. Oh, well, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're just establishing routines for her, and because when we first got her, they say don't let them out in the first week until they acclimatise, because you get very stressed and whatnot.
Yep.
But now we're onto regular walks. We go out twice a day after her meals, and
Cool.
She's not quite decided where she's actually going to sleep on a night. Sometimes she sleeps in a basket in the dining room / library. Sometimes she sleeps in front of the fire on a big fleecy blankie she likes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she sleeps on the end of the sofa, but
Yeah.
it varies. She's not being a rescue dog. I mean, she's not really used to people being around at night, so she does get a bit cranky, and she goes, "Oh, you're still up? What are you watching all these things with people screaming? I'm going to bed."
Yeah.
But it's smart. She finds a level, because on one hand she wants to be with us, but the other time she can't be doing with the crap we're watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Pets are a good judge of that sort of thing. They just sort of like, they'll put up with you up to a point, and then it's just like, you know what? I've got to be honest with you, dude. I'm out.
It has made me reassess. We do watch an awful lot of things with people screaming, things blowing up, sudden loud noises. He's going, I don't watch anything nice, do I, really?
Is
That's
it?
true, I know. Gone fishing with Whitehouse and Mortimer. She liked that.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite slow. And painting with Bob Ross.
Oh, my Lord.
She likes the colours.
Is she about to become the Yoko Ono of Hypnagoria? Going to change your direction completely. The next podcast is going to be talking about fishing.
You never know. It's certainly mostly it'd be actually very relaxing, because it means kind of when it's get out of bedtime, we actually turn the telly off. We have some quiet time for her, which means I can do some reading on an evening rather than rushing around. And then I'll do something when I go into bed, and I'd read 3 pages and go. So that's good.
That's good.
It means I'm not kind of at the weekends just sat at my computer thinking, I'll just mess about, and then you end up doing some work because I'll just do that while I'm on. And then you find you've worked all weekend by accident on something. So that's good.
Feels familiar.
Yes, the trouble working from home. But it means because she doesn't come upstairs at all, not because it's like we will not have a dog upstairs, but it's just that, she's just been getting used to the rooms downstairs and all that goes on before we introduce this more of the house to freak her out.
Yeah.
So we've been spending weekends in the lounge. It means I actually got away from the damn desk, which has been good, actually, I must admit. But she's also got this thing now of where I think I'm chief security officer in the house. Mm-hmm. Because if someone comes to the door, she will get up and bark, and when I go and answer the door and say, "Oh no, that's all right, it's fine," and she stops. But now it's kind of, if she hears something and barks, she needs me to give it the okay and say, "No, it's safe." I mean, she likes to go out. I mean, obviously it's funny because being a rescue dog is all memories coming back from her old life, and clearly she knows the word watchdog and guard dog. And I think that's what someone used to say to her, "Oh, you're my little watchdog." And because she likes to go out, normally around 8, 9 o'clock at night, not before she just turns in, she likes to go out into the back garden. She doesn't actually do anything because she prefers to do it on a walk, not on her own territory. But she likes to go out and she goes round, does a perimeter twice, sniffs everything, and then she'll stop and she waits for me to go at the back gate and check it. And at first we thought, because we got like solar lamps, we got these rather nice ones, we got like a flickering flame effect. And at first we thought, oh, she's just mesmerised by these lamps. But then I realised it's when I go at the back door and say, no, everything's fine, she sits up, goes back in the house. But she's just waiting for me to sign off on it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, clever dog. Very clever dog.
Yeah, you call her the guard dog, and she gets you to do all the work.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
As I said, very clever dog.
Yeah, clearly. Cool. So
yes, that's all been rather lovely.
Oh, lovely. Well, that's nice. Nice. Yeah, get a nice, lovely update given the current situation outside because it's all turning to shit. Anyway, brilliant. Okay, then. Well, moving on then, sir, to Elton, sir.
Yes. This week has been full of paperwork for the upcoming move. We've suddenly been inundated with lots and lots of paperwork from solicitors, etc. And I think we sat down on the Saturday, and I did something on the Saturday. I forget which I did, but Amanda sorted out a load of paperwork because if I get involved, then it all goes wrong. And I go, what about this? No. She's got a system which works, and I daren't touch it. Yeah. And I remember her sorting out something while we was at football as well, and we sat down, and then all of a sudden 3 hours had passed.
Yeah.
And it's just going through absolutely everything on there. But we did... There is one fun one that you have to go through, and that's the fixtures and fittings. And basically what you're keeping and what you're taking with you from the house. And if you take anything of like bulbs or lights or anything like that, it has to be replaced with a working light, etc. Basically, these fixtures and fittings things have built up over years because bastard people have walked away with stuff that they shouldn't have from the house that they are leaving. So on there are weird things like front room carpet. Are you taking that with you? No, I am not taking that with me. Dining room carpet. Are you taking that with you? No, I am not taking that with me. But that question has been raised because some bastard in the past has taken that carpet and not told anyone.
Ceiling tiles. Are you taking those with you?
Yes, this is true. Taps. Are you taking your taps with you?
Yeah, I've just moved into a house and all I've got is a copper pipe sticking out of the floor. There's no sink, no nothing, yeah.
Now, when we first moved into our first house, I think it was, we went through that. Obviously, we didn't have to fill anything out because we had nothing to sell, but we were told by I don't know if this is like a rumour or anything like that, but someone walked into a house once and all the floorboards had been taken as well. You're like, I think you're exaggerating that a little bit, but let's go with it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going with that, and we're going around all the rooms and going, no, we're taking that, no, we're taking that, no, we're taking that. And it's fine, all reasonable stuff like curtains and poles and stuff like that. Because I think when we get there, there'll be no curtains or poles. And so we will take our curtains and poles and then decorate the new house in our own time.
Yes.
But it got to the bathroom light. And I think about a year ago I put this in. I think I mentioned it on here as well. I put a new bathroom light in about a year ago. And this bathroom light is huge.
Right.
And it is very bright.
Yes.
And it is LED. And it is like an atomic bomb going off in the distance. It's like,
yeah, wasn't that the thing that saved you from the Hornet because it got stuck in there at one point?
No, that was the bedroom. That was the bedroom light. Yeah. But yeah, this thing turns on and birds start tweeting outside. It's that bright.
It keeps itself self-powered because it powers solar panels for all around.
Yes.
Nice.
But it's one of them lights where you'll have your bedroom door closed and someone will go into the bathroom, turn it on, and you'll have a big shine around your bedroom door. It's like, oh, someone's in the bathroom, aren't they? Yes, I can see everything in my room, can't I?
Yeah. It's like Close Encounters.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, little kid trying to climb out through the clap flap to come and see the aliens beyond.
Yep,
Yeah, nice.
And all the screws start turning out as well.
All the windows start flapping.
But yeah, I've decided to take that because it's very expensive and it's amazing. And I've told Amanda it's going into the smallest room we have in the new house, which is the downstairs toilet, because now we have an upstairs toilet and a downstairs. Very, very posh, very posh. But no, it's going to go in the garage, which I'm going to be painting and working on. So yeah, I've taken that and I had to change it out for a relatively good light. Look. It works. What do they want?
You mean it's a 10-watt bulb hanging from a piece of string, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't do that to them.
20
it's
watts?
A proper bathroom light. It's a proper bathroom one. But yeah, I changed that over the weekend, and I don't know what it is. I just thoroughly enjoy doing all that sort of stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, for some reason.
I've got a house that needs renovating. If you want to come over.
I'm sure I'm going to have stuff to do in my house when we get into it. But yeah, I've got holes. I filled up the holes that this thing left. Got to paint the ceiling again now because I'm an idiot. But there you go. So that was all fun. Conversations about dishwashers, taking dishwashers. It's all very adult. It really is. It's all very, oh, God, are we going to take that? Yes, we are going to take that. Are we going to take... No, we're not going to take that. And all that sort of jazz.
Do you remember when life used to be, do I go out to the pub or don't I?
Yeah, do you remember them days?
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Do I go uptown and maybe just fuck around a couple of shops and then come home and watch a video?
Yeah. Do you remember when we went up to the pub in January?
I vaguely. Don't know which January. My brain's long since gone.
Yeah. But I'm so glad I went to the pub in January. I'm so glad we did that.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it since.
No, this is like one of those. This is almost like a podcast now for the apocalypse. It's like, hi everyone. Do you remember when you used to go to the pub? Do you remember when you used to wipe toilet roll on your ass and you never used to worry about how many rolls you had left in storage?
Do you remember when you didn't have to use a Geiger counter to go outside?
Yes. Remember, keep taking those pills and watch out for the acid rain. We'll see you all next week.
Oh man, it is, isn't it?
It is. Oh God. Anyway,
and it's going to get so much more fun in the next weeks.
Oh yeah.
Who could have predicted it?
Who?
Everybody apart from the cunts in charge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we going to go down that route?
Unbelievable.
You know what? At some point, it's going to have to happen. We are going to have a special where we just sit here and just go. Ah!
Yep.
Fucking hell. Just cathartically burn it all off.
Yeah. I like the way that Liverpool was just reveling in it, going, oh, look, we're geezers, we're outside, going, it's 10 o'clock and we're not in the pubs, but yeah, we're outside. And now you're locked down, aren't you? Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. The government just helicopters in a big glass dome and just drops it over Liverpool. Bring in the next one for Manchester. Here it comes. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to lock down, but we won't lock down unless you give us some money. But we haven't got enough money to take care of the hospitals.
That's right. But we've caused this problem, haven't we? By being laddish out on the streets.
Mad for it. Fucking Noel Gallagher saying I'm not wearing a mask. Yeah.
Oh, what a fucking dick. What a fucking dick.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say that about that man, but what a fucking dick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I know we're doing it now, but,
Yeah.
and then he turns around and says, oh yeah, like artists need money and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I see. So you're now telling people not to wear masks, and now you're asking for money. How about 2 big V's, back to the 90s, and fuck off?
Like, yes, no, people do need money. People like me, cough up.
Yeah. Yeah. Perhaps
You've got enough.
Yeah,
Cough the fuck up, fucking Thunderbird's puppet. Go and cut your strings.
Yeah, perhaps if you had told everyone to wear masks and we had this all sorted out by now, we might not necessarily have been in this situation that you are now currently trying to get some money out of us to help you. Fuck off.
Oh, yeah. As he walks in between his 7 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And grows a 3rd eyebrow.
Yeah. Anything else for my week? I'm just wondering. I did rush a bit on, this model that I'm making.
Yes.
And slowly building on YouTube.
Yes.
I haven't had a video out for a couple of weeks now because of work and because of getting the house stuff done and because the weather's closing in, etc., and football season starting. So, but I'm slowly doing stuff. But once again, I find myself rushing. And
no, you can't do that, man. You got.
I know. Earlier on in the build, I did like some spraying, and in like the dusky type, and then I couldn't see where I was spraying and kind of fucked it up and had to start all over again. And I've done it. I just don't learn. I've done it again. No. I got home and I rushed spraying something, and I've had to strip it all off again. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
See, you should actually have a video about recovering all that kind of crap. When it all goes wrong, how do you get out of it?
Yep.
You shouldn't turn around and just go, oh, yeah, I had to fix it. You have to go, no, this is how you fix it. And like 5 hours of watching you with a cotton bud and some meths trying to take off every individual scrap of paint.
Oh, we're back to the 90s again.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I haven't made a model since fuck knows when.
Yeah. No, it is going to be in there, I suppose, because you can't just show all the wins, can you? You have to show a couple of cock-ups.
Yep, that's right. Because that's the story of the triumph. You see,
yeah.
This is the middle act when it all falls down and everyone goes, "Oh no, hero's at his lowest ebb," and then he comes back for the final act.
That's right. Yeah,
got to do your Rocky moment, mate.
I'm just making a model, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. You're not making a model. You're sharing a dream. See,
I'm taking you on an adventure.
Yes, you're on a personal journey of discovery, and you're taking all of these people with you.
This is the adventure people didn't see at the end of Lord of the Rings when they get on that fucking boat.
That's right. They're sitting there for like 6 months making mini boats out of twiglets.
Yeah.
Frodo, come over here to stop fishing about with that boat.
But Bilbo Baggins sat on my twiglet boat.
Yeah, as Enya stands on the prow going, he's making a boat, he's sailing the ocean. Or maybe that's Celine Dion, I don't know.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Wow, this is the trippiest my week it's ever been, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. You got Enya. Let's be honest. We've had conversations about dentists, Sweep being a drug user, wanking off Matthew Corbett, dogs, nuclear bomb lights. I mean, we've done all right so far. and now we've got hobbits making lolly stick boats while crossing the infinite ocean.
On a lolly stick boat.
If anything, we're getting more whimsical.
Yeah. If anything, yeah. Then we're gonna bring in the new age bunch soon. This is a new age demographic. We'll be singing Into Crystals by the end of the year.
Oh man. That's amazing. I can almost hear Led Zeppelin on the back in the background.
What song?
I don't Misty Mountain. I don't know.
The Immigrant Song. Anyway, That's it. Anything else, sir?
No, I think I'll leave it there just in case.
Okay, well, I'm afraid my week hasn't been nearly as surreal. I've literally done fuck all apart from work. I suddenly had a thing where I wanted to catch up with the Amazon series, The Boys.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so now that season 2's finally done, because they were releasing it 1 week at a time, I've decided to binge watch it. And so I've basically blasted through season 1 again, and I'm about to start season 2. I forgot how good that series is. It's really fucking good. Have either of you seen it?
I watched the first series, and then watched the first couple of the second, but then I was going, oh, Christ, we have to wait week by week. So
yeah.
We waited.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Elton?
No, I haven't. No.
If I were you, I would give it a go.
Yeah.
It's got more C-bombs than an entire season of this podcast.
Okay.
In probably the first episode. It is an interesting take on the superhero genre, as you'll soon see. I know you're not into superheroes, but the fact is that it's so cynical against them, I think you'd actually dig it.
Okay. I might give it a go.
Yeah.
I might give it a go.
Which means you won't.
No, actually I might, because I... Just quickly go back to my week, sorry. I started watching Peaky Blinders. So when does that get good?
Not
just,
sure.
Just asking.
I never really got into it myself.
Yeah.
Just asking anyone who's listening to this, does it actually get good at some point? You know, I've just seen people walk in a pub and then out of a pub, and then in a pub and then out of a pub. That's all I've seen. It's the same as Sons of Anarchy. It was just people walking into a room, arguing, and walking out of a room, and then arguing. Like, flipping hell. Get on with it.
Mate, conversations like that are why you get unfollowed.
Yeah, this is true, yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Losers.
Yeah, fuck them.
Sorry. Just jumping back to the boys. Do you guys both find yourself hanging on then and binge watching stuff, or doing the weekly thing? What do you guys prefer?
I normally wanted to do weekly, but I found now the temptation of having a whole bunch of them that you can just blast through when you've got nothing on telly. It's like, it's good for that sort of thing. I don't binge watch it in a sort of like, I am going to finish a season in a day. None of that sort of stuff. But if I sit down to watch some telly, go flick through the channels and go, there's nothing on until 9 o'clock, and it's like already like 6:30, and I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to play any games. I was just like, oh well, I'll stick 3 episodes on and blast through that. And it's kind of good for that sort of thing. But otherwise, I just will watch it week by week if it's something really good.
Right, we watch things in blocks. In the kind of. We've normally got a couple of series or mini series kind of on the go, and the usual pattern is, okay, there's very sort of little short things we watch while having our tea on YouTube and whatnot. Then, we'll have an episode of this, maybe 2 episodes if it ends on a cliffhanger. Then we stick on a movie, or. Then if we still want to go to bed, we might go back and dip into another episode. So we watch things we do binge it, but it is kind of spread out over a period of days rather than weeks. Well, it can last for weeks sometimes, depending how long the series is. But that seems to work, just quite well, of put your own little schedule together for the evening.
Yeah,
that's it.
A bit of this, a bit of that, a movie, then maybe something short to round off the evening, or another movie if you're staying up late and we haven't run out of wine.
Yeah, or the wine hasn't taken its toll.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I don't fucking care.
Which telly are we watching?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The one on the left. I mean, what about you, Elton? Do you binge them, or do you just go one at a time, or do you take it very slowly, like your like your scratch cards?
I like to have some in reserve. So I think I'm a fan of not binge watching it, but having 4 or 5 built up, or maybe a whole season built up, ready to go. And then, as you say, watch them at your leisure, in your own schedule.
Yeah.
Instead of watching one, getting to the end of it, going, oh, could really do more. Oh, no. It's next week now, isn't it? Nuts. And then you get to next week and you're like, I can't be asked at the moment. It's not the right time. The right time was then and now, and it's good to do it like that. So I think I'm more and more finding myself building up a season ready to watch and then doing it at my own pace.
Yeah. I think that's the right way to do it, because I've sort of been toying with the idea of going back to Star Trek Discovery, which I've heard has reinvented itself again for a third season, and I'm like, well, I'll give it a go. And then I looked, and there was like one episode, and I thought, but if I watch it and it's got nothing going on it and I don't like it, then everyone's going to go, yeah, but they got better in the next episode, sort of thing. So I'm just going to be like, no, I'll wait until there's like 3 or 4 built up and I'll have a quick look at it. But yeah, I try not to binge watch where I can. I try to watch along, but sometimes I just find that it's probably easier just to sort of time fill.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, saying back in the early days of the internet, when suddenly by strange occult magic you could watch American TV in Britain as it was airing, and it was kind of like, I think everyone would think like, oh wow, America, they get like seasons of like not just 6 or 8, they get like 22 episodes. This is amazing. But then when you actually watch along, you find but you're lucky to get 6 in a row, aren't you?
Yeah.
You get 3 weeks, and then it's National Pants Day, and then another 2, then it's Labour Day, and then it's another 3, and then it's, I don't know,
Sweeps Week
Purple Tuesday or something. And it's like, and then it stops all over Christmas for a month, then it comes back for a bit, then goes off for another month, then it's Easter. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, those 26 episodes last about 26 years.
Oh, it's interminable. I've really lost patience with the whole thing, because I think it's... Because clearly... You see, in the whole plotting of story arcs, you realise why story arcs are so all over the place, because they're built around these natural breaks of, oh, well, here's the fall break, here's another break, here's Purple Tuesday break, and it's kind of, well, these two are just in nothing episodes because no one gives a fuck anyway, we stick them there, because we're not going to be back for months anyway, you know what I mean?
This is guest director.
It pisses me off. I lost all patience after a while. Just, for Christ's sake, just show them week after week. Can't you manage that? No, that's why your country's fucked and you're all full of morons and low attention pan motherfuckers. It's when you're in America, it's kind of new episode tonight, because they have to tell people, because other people don't have a fucking clue when anything's new. Yeah. When they're not showing the current one, they're showing all repeats of other seasons, all out of order, so no one knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I found that when we were in. I found that actually.
Sorry, Americans.
Nah, it's fine. They've all logged off long ago. No. I found that when we were in New York, because when we got there and we were sort of suffering a bit of jet lag. You're watching TV at sort of middle of the night, thinking it's like 5:30 in the afternoon. And it's like you suddenly watch like 20 episodes of the same thing, but it's like they're all out of order. So 1 minute the lead character's got long hair and a beard, and then 5 minutes later he's married, and then 2 minutes later he's had his marriage has fallen apart and his wife's died or something. And then 5 minutes later it's like he's just been introduced to the town that he's walking in, and it's a pilot. And it's like, okay. What the fuck? I've watched season 1, 3, 19, 22, and then a bit of episode 3 in season 5, I think, somewhere.
Yeah. At the start of American football where they shout those numbers, that's nothing to do with the game. That's just actually, announcing the listings for the evening.
Yeah, that's just telling you what channel to watch.
Numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they've all logged
5, 17, 58, 9.
Yeah. Hut. Yeah. Okay. What else have I got on my list before we completely isolate everyone? We're just talking to ourselves. Yeah. I'm looking after a dog. We have a dog. I'm not going to say the name because she is an old pup. She's about 10. She's a bit of a noisy dog. So once she gets going, so. I'm not going to say her name in case she suddenly perks up and jumps up and starts woofing all over the place and stops the whole thing. But yeah, she's lovely. She's doing well. She's going to be here until Friday, so that's good. Just stomping around. She's my pace of dog. She kind of you go for a walk. You take 5 minutes to get around the block, and you kind of go, "That's enough for me. That'll do." Just kind of flop on the sofa. That's great. I love that. What else? Oh, in other animal news, this evening we got rid of a spider out of our bedroom, which, no joking, actually filled the bottom of a pint glass.
Ooh.
So that was an interesting one. That was an interesting intense 10 minutes as we flopped it into the pint glass and then put a lid on it, and then it decided that was it. It wasn't very happy about that. And it's like fucking hell. I felt like that bit in Aliens when they got hold of the facehuggers that are attacking Ripley, and there's like the two Marines going, right, throw it over in the corner, 3, 2, 1, and then throw it and then try and machine gun it as it flies. So that was good. What else? No, that's about it. That's literally it. I mean, we watched Addams Family for the first time in God knows how long. The kids had never seen it. Have you ever seen it?
The Barry
Levinson one, the first one.
Mm.
It's quite interesting to watch it, and then go, bloody hell! How did they get away with selling this as a kids show?
There's some dark, mad stuff, isn't it?
There's some dark, mad stuff, but there's also some weird, kinky sex stuff going on as well, and it's just like,
oh yes.
Is that the black and white one or the MC Hammer one?
The MC Hammer one, because MC Hammer does play about 8 times with various different creatures and things appearing at a party.
Right.
But the first Addams Family one, I enjoyed it. I think we're going to watch the sequel this weekend.
I remember the sequel's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the sequel's better.
Then the third one's awful. Avoid.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that animated thing. But the sequel's brilliant with the whole recreation of Pocahontas and the founding fathers and all that sort of stuff, and it turns into an actual massacre. It turns into an actual Indian massacre. So I'm looking forward to watching that again. But if you haven't seen it, it is worth a look. It does hold up. The effects aren't quite as good as you remember, but especially Cousin It, the thing, which is kind of like just a disembodied hand that runs around, and everyone at the time, I remember going, oh, wow, and now you can see basically that it's clearly just a bloke and it's painted out. And it's painted out badly because the painted hand bit is just kind of wobbling all over the place. So yeah, that was about it really. Unfortunately, there's not been a lot going on, and we did get our COVID test back from like 3 weeks ago. Finally turned up and said you're negative, so that's good.
Cool. Well done for you 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago I was fine. However, right now, not entirely sure. So yeah, that's been it really. So I'm just gonna have a look on the old Black Dog group, see if there is any. Was there any feedback? Because last week we did, if I'm not mistaken, we did Transfiguration. And and I've lost the bloody post. I don't know where it's gone. Never mind, it's gone. It's gone. I don't think anyone actually left any feedback anyway. But yeah. Oh God.
Your call is far important to us.
Well, there was Martin Thompson who said a quick question about this week's film, and he said, "Did you think Milo would rise from the grave at the end?" Which I think we kind of covered.
I think we covered that in the actual episode.
Yeah. Martin also said that it's interesting that in such a down-to-earth film, it dares you to believe in the tropes of a vampire movie. And while he didn't believe it would go a full carry, there was some moment where he was actually looking for like a breath or a movement or something. So there you go. So he sort of followed on from that other bit, but like I say, we did kind of discuss that whole bit with Milo to death. Pardon the pun. yeah, but no, it's still. I was thinking a lot about that film. Actually, one thing I didn't ask was Elton. Where on the potato scale did it come?
Oh, it was way down. It really was way down.
Yeah,
tater tots. Proper roasties.
Yeah, wasn't even a bucket of gravy, was it?
No. If anything, it was in the shape of unicorns.
Oh, was it potato faces?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
yeah. Good little faces.
Potato waffles.
A waffly versatile.
They go with beans, bangers, fish fingers, eggs on gammon, steak, chops,
grill them, bake them, fry them, eat them. Oh my god!
God, that is morning TV, isn't it? Oh,
potato waffles, waffly versatile.
I'm getting ready for school. Shit.
I'm back in school. You mean you haven't studied? Oh no, I've got to.
No, but I know all the words to the Birdside Potato Waffle song.
Just test me on Um Bongo. That's all I'm going to say.
I always got stuck on that.
What? Way down deep in the middle of the Congo, the hippo took an apricot, a guava, and a mango, and he chucked it all together, and he danced a dainty tango, and the lion said, I know, we'll call it Um Bongo. Um Bongo, bongo, we drink it in the Congo.
It's the next bit that I used to get stuck on.
The lion picked a passion fruit, the marmoset a mandarin, the parrot painted packet that the whole big old caboodle landed in. So when you want some funny, sunny goodness in the jungle, we always go for the sunny, funny one they call Um Bongo.
There you go.
There you go.
Yay. That's impressive.
And you know what? I didn't pass maths in school.
Did you not?
No.
Yeah.
Apparently,
to be honest, what's more useful?
What is more useful?
Knowing the Um Bongo stuff.
Exactly.
That's definitely far more useful. Far more impressive than quadratic fucking equations.
What are they? I didn't
used them. Never.
Are your teachers on the internet talking to their mates for 40 listeners? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, those 40 listeners need to know the Um Bongo song, and they will be thankful one day when it comes up in a pub quiz. The hippo took a what? He took an apricot and a guava, motherfucker. Boom, 2 points. Anyway, right, and on that note, let's move on to this week's movie, because I think that's about it. I don't think you can. I think we've peaked. Once you hit the Um Bongo song, you have peaked.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So
it's only the Cocoa Pop song after that.
Oh man! Well, after that, you go for the 3-minute thing for the was it McDonald's? The all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions, all in a sesame seed bun.
You've lost me there.
That's when they had a campaign? They had an ad campaign where if you could say all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions, all in a sesame seed bun, and if you could say that in under 3 seconds, they would give you a free Big Mac.
Really?
Yeah. So you'd have all these people sort of pissed out of their brains and the sort of like Saturday night going into McDonald's going, oh, beef, and they just go, take the fucking thing and piss off.
No, I've never seen that. Oh, man.
Oh, you missed out, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. These are the important formative years that lead to greatness like this podcast. Oh, no. Anyway, let's move on while I take a little lie down and try and recover my brain from 1982 for this week's movie, which is Splinter.
Oh, the noodle ladies are back.
Noodle ladies.
She's dancing for the Indeterminate weeks of horror. Ooh, spooky flames, spooky flames. Is that a whoop?
Burner bits.
Oh, no. 70s merkins. Ah, they're everywhere.
Very flammable.
Don't go near the fire.
Turn that radio down. I'm trying to get to sleep.
And there we are. Once again, 3rd week of trying to get a jingle out for a horror film. And there we are. Ah, thank you, Elton.
Yeah.
No interruptions to find out why your toolbox is all over the floor this week.
No, not this time. No, thank goodness.
Okay, so Splinter is a 2008 American horror film directed by Toby Wilkins, starring Shea Wingham, Paulio Costanzo, Jill Wagner, and it was filmed near Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and had a limited theatrical release on October the 31st. And then it was released on HD Net Movies prior to its theatrical release, so it actually got undermined and streamed before it actually went out onto an actual cinema release.
Oh. That's a balls up, isn't it? Someone got sacked for that.
Well, you'd think, but it's basically that was it, really. It didn't make an awful lot at the box office, that's all I'll say. There's no budget for this thing. It was very low budget. So how much do you think it made at the box office, Jim?
I'd say 8 million.
Okay, Elton?
3 fingers, a radio walkie-talkie, and 4 roadkills.
Okay, and 1 coat hanger, and a breeze block. Actually, it made only $478,000 worldwide. That's not good at all.
That's not good unless it cost $200,000 to make.
Well, that's the thing. There is no details on how much it cost to make.
That's probably not meant a proper release for that sort of money.
No, it was like I say, it was released quite limited release, and then it basically went streaming to HD Net, wherever that's gone. So yeah, it did get a load of awards though. Normally I wouldn't go into it, but there's not a lot of detail, so I'm just filling this bit of space. I mean, it won the best horror film at the Saturn Awards. It also got won 6 awards at the Screamfest Horror Film Festival for best editing, score, special effects, makeup, and directing. But it lost out on the Spike Scream Awards to Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. So there you go. But it did get an award for most memorable mutilation for an arm removal scene, which is obviously an award that everyone aims for, I'm sure. Anyway, so before we get into it, let's just very quickly just do the quick roundtable one-line review. So, did you like it, Jim?
I had good fun with this for just a little monster movie. I mean, it's one of those things. It's kind of there's a few elements which I'll go into later. Go, yeah, I know where you're getting that from. But on the whole, I thought it was nicely shot. It was well acted. It's kind of they leaned into the low budgetness with a scenario that wouldn't overstretch themselves. And I thought the creature design was interesting, and and I liked kind of that they pulled off something that I think is quite difficult, which is showing you the creature but not showing you the creature.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it was a good, fun little monster movie. I mean, I don't think you won't get a cult following like Tremors because it doesn't have enough sort of humour to take the nasty edges off, but. If you want a modern day, little monster movie, you can do a lot worse than this.
Yeah,
a hell of a lot worse, believe you me.
Well, you only have to type in the word horror into Netflix and see how bad it can fucking get pretty damn quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay then. What about you, Elton? What did you think?
I thought it was quite good, actually. I thought it was nice and simple. Some choices of shots are questionable but understandable. But the sound was great in the most part. Yeah, there's one bit where it made me actually jump a little bit because I wasn't expecting that sort of sound to come out of it. But there's some good acting as well in this.
Cool.
And I kind of like the characters. So I just had fun with it. I think I didn't know what I was getting into, but I think it's fairly obvious early doors what you're getting into. So I was like, oh, do you know what? Let's just have fun. So, and I did.
Cool. Yeah. Well, and for me, I'm just going to echo what you guys said. I didn't know what to expect from this, and when the first 2 seconds of the film kind of unfoils, I sort of went, oh, this is going to be super cheap. But as soon as you kind of buy into that sort of like, well, this is going to be cheap, just go with the story they're trying to tell. I actually had a lot of fun with this, and it's the first film in a long time which actually had me actively wince, pause the film, and go off to make a cup of tea, because I was like, no, fucking no, stop it, no, So for a film that's that cheap, it has what I call the Doctor Who effect, where people will enjoy it even if it is just a bloke covered in tinfoil in a quarry outside of Cardiff. Yep. You still go with the story. So, and for me, this is exactly what this does. You kind of know there's certain cheap tricks being played here, but you just go, you know what? It's in and out. It's an hour and 20. It doesn't hang around. You don't get any sort of hours and hours of exposition or any of that crap. It just gets on with it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. As much as you can enjoy some of that, because some of it was just whew. Oh, he's got an arm off. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, we are going to be discussing spoilers. I don't think this is going to be a majorly in-depth review. I don't think we're going to find any hidden depths in this, but you never know. But if anyone has not seen this film, I would strongly recommend, if you're a horror fan, to go and check this out, because it is, well, clearly by the budget, by the box office, it's clearly underseen, and I think it serves a bigger audience. So stop what you're listening to here and go and watch it first before coming back here, because it's well worth watching as cold as possible.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah.
Definitely.
Cool, okay. So, spoilers. Okay, so, let's get into it. How did you feel about the creature itself and how it was done? In terms of, like, did you want to know more about it? Or did you understand what it was doing? Or did you think it was a bit of a cop-out? Or you want to see more of it or less of it? Or what was the deal? How did you feel about it?
Well, I think the initial shots of the first victim, I got the thought that, okay, this is some sort of rabbit, maybe. I don't know, some sort of weird animal that's going to be attacking, and we're going to be dealing with that. But it's only until, I suppose, midway, definitely through the petrol station scene, where you're actually, this isn't just a weird creature attacking people. It's actually some sort of fungusy, mouldy, weirdy typey thing. And that made it different, because then you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know how it would act. If you've got a creature or a monster in front of you, then if it's got 4 legs, then you know it's going to run really fast. If it's got a big mouth, then it's going to bite you, isn't it? But when you're dealing with, okay, there's a man flopped over a hood of a car and a lady on the floor, and they both got this little thing going on, you don't quite know what you're dealing with, apart from little spiky things.
Yeah. It was interesting because it does lay out how the thing works without having to spell it out until it gets to a point where you sort of, like, one of the characters does spell it out, and then you suddenly go, oh, it all makes sense now, and you kind of go back and you can almost watch it again going, I understand how it's working.
It's a shapeless monster.
Yeah, it's a formless mask of stuff. But it also makes sense when you talk about how they run it over in the car. And then it's like they run it over in the car, but then when they run it over in the car, it doesn't really do anything. And then it's only when they get close to it does it sort of go and start to react and move. And suddenly it's doing something because it's sensing them being near it.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, I thought. And Jim, what did you think?
So I thought it had rules, which I think kind of monsters need, but at the same time, not too many rules, otherwise it gets ridiculous. But, I mean, one of the big influences, very clearly in many ways, is Night of the Living Dead. And it borrows a clever Romero trick, which a lot of filmmakers, frankly, even like 40 years later, are still too dumb to pick up on.
Yeah.
Which is, in Night of the Living Dead, the dead are rising and they're eating people, but nobody knows why.
Yeah.
And actually, they sort of a situation where that's not actually an issue. It's just you're investing in how do the characters get out of this situation, and they don't know the reason why, and you're happy with that. And all too often, I think, not just horror films, but all kinds of films fall into the trap, particularly these days where everything has to be explained in triplicate. And it's a massive drag factor to the immersion. Whereas this is kind of, it puts you in kind of, if this happened to me, what would my thought be?
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of the way it was revealed, because at first I was thinking, oh, right, this is going to be like a kind of infection, possession, sort of. And I'm not saying this in a cheap, derogatory way, but in a literal physical, kind of like, spasmodic zombies shambling around.
Yeah.
And, the wrinkle has grown a few spines, okay. But actually what I found interesting was the fact that it's not that. It's like this, it's like a parasitic organism, and it's actually fusing bodies together. And I really dug that, because it's kind of, I read a lot of kind of horror comics in the 90s, and there's a few creatures like this that were made from different things being fused together.
Yeah.
There's one in the Nancy Collins run of Swamp Thing called Les Perdus, which is the bodies of 4 or 5 people who have been drowned in the swamp that end up being fused together into this just gibbering mess of limbs and mouths.
Yeah.
And it's fucking pissed off. And that's it. I like that kind of that kind of what do you say? It's a non-linear sort of creature design. You can't get a handle on what it actually is, because it's actually just a mess of forms.
Yeah, amorphous, isn't it?
It's the kind of thing of it got to a point where they go and try and leave the petrol station, and Tree said, really? Couldn't you stay in the freezer? But I'm saying, well, every time someone comes, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
It fuses more into it. How big could this possibly get? I mean, I knew it didn't have the budget for it, but, could this end up being something like, kaiju size, just absorbing limbs and people, and just being this huge mess just rolling through towns,
Yeah.
I thought that's but I thought that was good filmmaking, because it planted that seed in your head. And the fact, I think the really clever thing about it is it does what a lot of good gore, not necessarily in horror films, but in any film does, is it makes it relatable. Just a finger bending back. You know what that feels like. We've all done it accidentally. And it plays heavily on those kind of like twisting your ankle, banging your elbow, dislocating your shoulder, bending your finger back. Sort of that kind of pain. And I thought that actually made it really scary, because you could suddenly...
Yeah.
You could have empathy for the creature.
Yeah.
Or what the creature had been, and you're going, oh no, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And particularly when people are being taken over and it's infecting them. And I thought that was just really well thought out. And it's one of the things I thought, this is a good monster. This is good. I like this.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. It was really interesting to note that when the policewoman gets sort of ripped in half, which, to be quite honest, is the schlockiest moment of the film, in my opinion. Because it was just like... Because it was like, up till then, it was like the creature's kind of fairly consistent with what it does. It sort of hits someone, scratches them, infects them, absorbs them, moves on. Whereas suddenly, just because we maybe had, like... If we found an extra $5 down the back of the sofa and we found a mannequin in the corner, we filled it up with blood. Then suddenly it pulls her in half. And it was just like, okay. But it was interesting to note that when it pulls her in half, you're kind of sitting there going, oh, wow, that's fucking awful. But when he has that bit where his own finger bends backwards while he's sort of looking for the coat hangers, you're like, holy fucking shit. No, ow, no, fucking no. It was really weird. It's like you watch all these monster movies with people's fucking heads flying off and, you know, tentacles coming out of their arse and everything, but then all of a sudden you stick one person banging their thumb. You're like, no, God, no. Ah.
Yeah, because we've all done that, yeah.
Exactly, that level of empathy.
Yeah. But I think you're right, that is the schlockiest part of the movie, of that policewoman being ripped in half.
Yeah.
Well, her feet super glued to the floor because it pulled it away. That's what I couldn't understand. But they needed to with that, they built up the monster again. You saw it connecting itself again. You saw the top half being dragged away, just out of focus, which I quite liked. And you saw the tentacles kind of reattaching and building up the monster again. So you needed that, but then you also needed the radio left.
Yeah, exactly. But it also added a certain horrible goo moment of the fact that she was still alive when it was kind of reattaching her.
Yeah.
And that's the fear of being eaten alive or being consumed alive is always like a pretty visceral one. I found that more affecting than the actual pulling her in half business.
Oh, it's very primal, isn't it?
It does go back to all of those things like Jaws and all those kind of things where it's sort of like watching Ben Gardner's head come out of the boat, it makes you jump, but you don't get worried by it. But you see old Chrissy what's-her-face at the beginning getting dragged under the water. It's like, oh my Lord, no, fucking hell. Yeah, and this film does that very well. That whole visceral kind of empathetic violence, shall we say? Because that bit with the arm man, I don't think I'm going to forget that for a long time. That really was just like, woof, that was too much for me.
Well, we were watching that, and I must admit we were being a bit smart-arsey. I had a few drinks, and I was going, "Oh, he's going to take that off with a Stanley knife." Now, being an arty and crafty person, I've experienced with Stanley knives, and frankly, Stanley knives, X-Acto blades, they're only good for cutting paper if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
The most useless fucking knife in the world. I thought, you're going to need a saw to get that off. You want to get that off, son? You're going to need a saw. And we were saying that, and we were going, oh, come on. I know there was that idiot bloke who really in a cabin did it with a penknife, but, fuck that guy. He should have died there, the cunt. Anyhow. Wasting everybody's time. I'm my hero. I went climbed, didn't tell him, and fell down a hole. Well, fuck you. Darwin in action, if you ask me. Anyhow. But you know what I mean? I thought, no, you're going to need a saw. You know you're going to get that. If you get that off with a Stanley knife, I'll be cross with you, film. I've been really enjoying it. And then he just looked at those breeze blocks and both went, oh, no.
Exactly.
Oh, no. Then, yes. Oh, fucking hell.
Exactly. It was exactly that. I looked at that bit and I just went, I'm just going to pause it right here because I need to take a breather at this point and go off, have a little cup of tea, put the dog out for a bit, and then come back. Because I can't do this all in one go. I just can't.
The thing is, I think in retrospect, it's so cleverly done. Because they were counting on the audience to have that, you'll never get an arm off with a Stanley knife reaction. And then it just lets the penny drop for you. Yeah. The way it's shot is really well done, the way he looks.
Yeah.
I had that thought as well.
Two blick, and then you go, oh, fuck. Oh, God. Damn it, you got me, you bastards.
Yeah. Yeah, you saying you got that same reaction as well, Elton?
Yeah, when they got the Stanley knife out, I was like, okay. Because the only time I've cut myself with a Stanley knife is by accident when I've dropped it. And that's the only time you're actually going to hurt yourself with one of them things. Because normally they're bloody blunt. But when they got it out, you're like, okay, right, they're ringing around the arm. You're like, okay, first off, you're too high. You want to go where it's actually broken. Because it's already broken his arm at that point, hasn't it? And you're like, you should have done this a little bit further down. What are you going to do? Pull out his sleeve or something? It's going to be disgusting, isn't it? And then, as you say, looking at the breeze blocks, you're like, okay. But the breeze block thing, it was clever and I enjoyed it, but that's not the bit that made me wince.
Go on.
it's just that moment before, as it breaks his arm, when they're behind the freezer, and it's doing all the twisty bits, and there's a real hard crack, which I wasn't expecting. We were already hearing like the cracked fingers and stuff like that, and that's fine, and that was working all the way through. But then there was this really hard, brittle snap.
Yeah.
And it was high pitched. He's like, "Oh, that's got me. That hurts."
Yeah. Yeah. That was that someone looked long and hard for a very big piece of wood to snap that, didn't they? They really did.
But whoever did the Foley, hats off.
Yeah. They saved that film in many ways, because the monster was the Foley, wasn't it? It was the Foley artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
just like the bristly sound of it as well. That was quite a nice sound, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they didn't overplay it. It was quite subtle, but it was like it had its own like audio signature.
Yeah, like a sort of.
That was a nice touch. And there's some films that think, "Oh, we've got a creature; it must make a noise," and we'll play that noise every fucking time it's near.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that kind of hissing rattle thing. It's like. It was just, and what I really liked about that whole thing was, again, once you knew the rules, and you sort of treated it, you say, "Oh, it's a fungus, it's a whatever, it's a virus, it's a flower of some kind, a kind of viral thing." You kind of go, "Okay, that makes sense." You kind of and so the rattling hiss thing is one of those things where you go, okay, so if you heard that, all you got to do is just stay away from it. And that's the thing. It's one of those. That's what I thought was really clever, was that the creature itself is only dangerous if you're stupid enough to happen upon it. Otherwise, it's like deadly nightshade or a Venus flytrap. If you're a fly, if you stay away from it, it's not coming after you until it gets into you, and then finally it's like you've pulled the fucking Band-Aid off and it's going to go hog wild. But
well, there were no dumb moves, were they? Normally in these sort of movies, someone does something silly.
Well, I would say Mr. sitting there after running across with the freezing ice blocks, getting in the car and then leaving the car door open for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's dumb. Yeah,
that was dumb as fucking arse, and that had me actually. But again, it was interesting because even as dumb as that was, I was watching that going, I wasn't going, he's not fucking opened, he's not left the door. What I actually did was watch it and I'm going, close the fucking door, close the fucking door, close the fucking door, close the fucking door, close the fucking door. And it was like, and then it was at that point I sort of realised that the film had got me. It had basically gone, okay, you know what? You're no longer criticising it as a film, you're watching it as a story and wanting these people to get out of it.
And how long has it been since you've done that? That's the thing.
A very long time. I don't think it's. I don't. Well, I can't remember the last time I got it. I mean, I can. Well, I can remember when I got last emotionally engaged with a film, but not in this way where I got excited by it.
Yeah.
When did you guys? I mean, what about you?
Well, I can't think of any others really. I'm struggling. I haven't seen. No, I haven't seen anything like that for a long, long time.
I mean, I remember being excited at things like Endgame and being sort of kind of overwhelmed by the action, but that was more sort of 10 years paying off rather than the actual storytelling.
I know, but to actually watch like a monster movie where you're going, shut that door.
Yeah, get out of there.
It's been ages. Normally we're sat there going, oh, shut the fucking door, you fucking idiot, you stupid fucking twonk. But no, shut the door. You haven't closed that door yet.
Yeah.
Someone tell him to close the door. Jeez.
Will someone not tell him?
Probably the last one was probably A Quiet Place. For me, thinking about it, because that did the same. It played it very much the same kind of. It told a story in a kind of very much. It played that what would you do?
Yes.
And drew you in with that hook.
Mm.
Now, the whole going out to get to the car is a classic lift from Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And it goes a lot worse.
Yeah, it does.
And there was kind of like, well, why do you just stay in the freezer? But then it's going to go like, yeah, but it's going to. Everyone who comes, you're going to eat, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know how. You know it's attracted by heat. There's a chance you can just get the fuck out of Dodge now. Because if you leave it longer, it's going to be bigger.
Yes.
It might get smarter. You don't know because we don't know all the rules.
No, that is true.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of you know, okay, you're going to go on this crazy thing, but it's And the thing is, when you watch these movies, I think it does annoy me because I think people are very quick to be armchair critics, and in real life, well, as we've seen this year, people are fucking dumb in the face of danger. You know what I mean? Characters being stupid in movies do, as I said the other week, I've got a massive pass now after this year, frankly. Yeah. Because, you know, the stupidity out there is taking my breath away, frankly.
Yeah.
But the thing, what I liked about this movie is it does... the way it's shot, the way it's told, you are invested and you're going, no, it's going to be worth a shot. Would I want to hang around in the fridge? Actually, no, I'd want to get out.
Yeah.
As soon as fucking possible.
Yes.
Because there's so much you don't know, and it's kind of... I wouldn't be happy just sat in that freezer for hour after hour while it's prowling around, getting bigger. Because you know more cops are going to come. How he's going to double in size, treble in size.
Yeah. And what happens when it's strong enough to break through a door or a wall?
Well, exactly. What happens when it's kind of that area of cold isn't significant to it anymore?
Yeah.
Because the bigger it gets, its perspective changes.
Yeah.
That's just a cool spot in a warm area. You know what I mean? Of kind of.
And that fridge ain't going to stay cold forever.
Well, no, this is. It will warm up with you being in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it didn't look like something that was going to last. It didn't look, the whole place didn't look like a place that was going to last. So it only used the power.
It wasn't the most secure building in the world, was it?
Not really, no.
No.
No. But I mean, in that case, I was going to say, how did you feel about like, for example, once the guy who was like the wussy wimp, sort of finally, shall we say, for the want of something better to say, finally mans up and decides, for reasons completely unknown, he decides that grabbing a shotgun and going at it with a shotgun is the way to go. Did that ring true to you, or did that just seem like we've just got to have it all go horribly tits up and get everyone out now?
Well, I think by that point, he was kind of, if I had a shotgun, he was just kind of, just fuck it.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of... It's that last roll of the dice. It's kind of, I'm going to go down swinging. If this is going south, I've got a shotgun. Fuck it. I'm going to use all the bullets at least before I die. You know. Yeah. I've played that many computer games, you know, where I've died with tons of cool weapons that I was saving for an important bit.
Yeah,
in real life, I won't make that mistake.
Yeah. What about you, Elton?
I had that thought of what are you shooting at? That was the thing. You're not shooting for a head. You're not shooting for a torso. You're just shooting it to try and slow it down or distract it.
Yeah.
But it just seemed, because it has that Thing vibe.
Yes.
Because every part can become its own little entity. And we see that with the fingers. Yes. Where the fingers are walking around. Which I thought was done really well, because you could have had a cheesy moment where you have like Yellow Pages fingers walking around after you, and that would have looked shit.
Yeah.
But it used the bone from the hand or the wrist or whatever it was to actually walk around. You thought, okay, that gets a pass from me. That works really well.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, wasn't it? That it was such a mishmash of organic parts. You weren't expecting it to walk with any kind of fluidity. It was just kind of flopping about, and you're like, yeah. Which kind of made me wonder why they weren't more worried about it being in the room for the point up until it kind of combined with the rest of the arm. It's like at some point when you have like tried to get rid of it, but that's me just looking at it in hindsight rather than when I was watching the film. For some reason, they ignore it, so I ignore it. It was just like, okay.
It got forgotten about, didn't it? That hand.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I would have been, I mean, when he hit it with a sack of potatoes or whatever he did, that was quite funny. Yeah, but I also read that was it the anti-hero guy? Most of his dialogue was ad-libbed.
Shay, well, I called him Chief Wiggum by accident, didn't I? Last
you did.
Shay Wingham.
Yeah.
I thought he acted everyone off the park.
He was.
He was good.
I mean, I think what I liked was you start off with two nice characters, two nasty characters, but your sympathies do change.
Yeah,
and the fact is, when it was refreshing to not have the tired cliche of kind of, we've got people in a confined situation facing danger. Let's have them needlessly bicker with each other instead.
Yes.
I think the turning point in that was kind of, when he was still shut outside and his girlfriend wasn't going to let him in. He's going, no, let the guy in, let the poor sod in,
Yeah.
And that counted for a lot. For Chief Wiggum's character, because he kind of, he appreciated, that this guy hadn't just thrown him to the wolves. And I thought kind of the character dynamics were actually, quite interesting. The way sort of they played off and bounced off each other, but without just going for the tedious conflict route.
Yeah, that was something I kind of at first I was a little unsure about because I saw it and I thought, what we've got here is a kind of modern day Dusk Till Dawn. Do you know what I mean? That kind of idea that the bad guys become the good guys kind of thing. But the way it was done, I think it was done quite nicely. It could have been, as you say, it could have been such a cliche just to have him as like the constant protagonist. Or antagonist, rather, and until such time as he makes one random noble effort, and then that's the end of that. But it was interesting to see that once the other guy had saved him, there was this kind of like, okay, well, you know what, we're all in this together, and we can all fight this out, in another time. And it was suddenly a lot more sensible. It was like suddenly, you suddenly think, well, hang on, this is actually more sensible than just everyone just arguing while a monster slams its head into a fucking door outside, and you're like, no, sort that out later. There's other things to worry about.
Well, that's an easy way to go as well, isn't it? Just conflict for conflict's sake.
Yeah, and I quite appreciated that as well. I like I say, at first I was a bit like, oh, here we go. This is just gonna turn into he's gonna be arguing with him, and then one of them's gonna betray the other one, and that's the end of that. In fact, I pretty much expected the wussy guy to basically die, and the lady to suddenly change her mind and find the bad boy kind of cool. Do you know what I mean? That which would have been another one of those, which again was harken back to the sort of Dusk Till Dawn thing, with was it Juliet? Is it Juliet Lewis?
Yes, yeah.
When she sort of wants to run off with George Clooney, the bad boy, after he's basically got her family murdered, and she's still like, "Hey, can I come with you?" And it's like, "Oh, fuck off, seriously." But the creature itself, the one thing I was going to say about the creature itself was I was interested in how, even though it was obviously cheap, there was obviously just a maquette bolted together and just slapped around but filmed really close. Did you find that was a problem, or did that not bother you?
That was
I
one. I
appreciate it was practical, actually, rather than CGI. Because being practical, it made them think about what they showed you. Where the problem with CGI is, I find, it's not the quality of effects work, it's the quality of the camera work that often lets it down.
Yeah.
And the fact they can show you everything leads you to shots that strike you as wrong because they're not shots that could be seen by a human or filmed by a human. Whereas this, you had kind of a real intimacy in the shots with a creature. And it's showing you enough detail, but not enough. You just know it's this big squalling mess of limbs and flesh. And I thought that was the right way to go. I think, especially from this budget, over-enthusiastic CGI artists with zooming, sort of almost like wirework camera shots showing you off the creature, would have killed it stone dead. Yeah. Whereas I quite like the little hand creature that reminded me of kind of, Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
And also there's a similar, like, fucked up hand and eyeball arrangement in Bride of Reanimator.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which is, really funny. And it kind of, there's all this, it's kind of, oh, yeah, you've seen those films. Yeah, good work. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, well I like that because it was almost like comic relief, but at the same time you're going, God, that's fucked up.
yeah. Isn't that cool? Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah. What I liked about when they were shooting it is because when it's slamming itself against the glass at the very beginning, if you think about it, that's not her slamming herself against the glass.
No.
It's like slamming a hand against the glass. That's all it is, trying to get attention, to trying to smash something, and it can send something through the glass.
Yeah.
And it's not until later when you see it all like conjoined and slapping against walls and whatever that you really appreciate it for that. I understand like the weird kooky camera shots and almost the handheld camera type shots.
Yeah.
But I understand why it's like that. It made me want to see the monster. And I think that's where a good film works with its monster very well. And it's kind of one when I want to see more. But if you saw more, it'd ruin it. But if you see just enough but want to see more, then it's one. And for the most part of this, you got to see enough, like the body on the front of the car. You saw it still. They gave you it there. That was it. But then it conjoined, and then when it's all flailing around, especially when the fireworks are going off, and it's kind of interested in the fireworks for a moment, and you can see all the lank hair squidging around, and it's just going on the floor. And you're like, okay, well, that's just a guy with a big mannequin on his head, and he's shaking it around, and he probably feels a bit silly doing it, but it was enough. It was enough for me. And seeing it through that little crack on the door, perfect. That's all I need. Any more, and you're like, well, you might as well just turn all the lights on. Let's have a good look at it. Draw all the details down. Thank you very much. And then we never need to see it again.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, like I say, there were moments where I was going, and this is just me being me, but early on in the film, where I was going, oh, that's a bit cheap. But I tell you what got me more than the monster slapping itself against the window and all that kind of stuff was the practical effects when it's on the people, so when he's pulling the girl along, and as he's pulling the girl along, her fingers are kind of bending backwards and twitching and flipping and flopping, or when his own arm is rebelling against himself.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, or the guy who's in the toilet, the first creature, and he's just like a sort of just a shattered mess in the bathroom, and you're just like, whoa! And that was more effective to me than a dozen, sort of CGI versions of the Thing, kind of flopping about with teeth and eyes and everything coming out of every orifice. I normally kind of rail a little bit against the sort of like, everything needs to be practical, because too often practical doesn't just mean good, it just means it's physically there. And that can be a double-edged sword sometimes. But also, as you say, CGI can get overplayed, and you end up with a sort of Peter Jackson wirework camera where it kind of, the cameraman would have to be on some kind of like drone hang glider flying from space at 1,000 miles a second, and you're like, nah, that don't make sense anymore. So I really liked the creature and how it was portrayed and how it was pulled off. And like I say, once you know how the creature actually operates and what it actually is, then the idea of like just a head essentially on a stick flopping about doesn't seem nearly as ridiculous as you initially feel it looks.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the head doesn't need to be a head. It could have been an arm. It could have been an elbow. It could have been, I don't know, fucking teacup if the thing could infect it. And it all just jumbled together in a big old mass. A bit like, now this is probably a bit of a weird deep cut. If you've never seen it, but there's a Japanese film called Tetsuo the Iron Man, or Tetsu the Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it basically has the same sort of idea of a man turning into essentially a biomechanical machine. And at first you're like, okay, that's a bloke with some pipes coming out of it. And by the end of it, it's literally like a walking jump keep. And you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? And that's when it really works. Because you're kind of like, you stop seeing just a bloke in a suit. You start seeing this mass of things that you just can't get your head around, and the sort of how it fits together.
Right.
So, yeah. Trust me, Elton, it's not a film I would recommend you watch.
Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting one. But I suspect it might not be for you, to be honest. I mean that as no disrespect. I'm just saving you some time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just going back to that.
Frankly, I didn't find it was for me.
No. Well, yeah, it's
I thought there's something just
it's just Japanese
weird and icky about this. I just didn't.
Yeah,
I'm not a bad film, but I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It's kind of,
well, there you go.
You hit the right body horror moments. So, God, no. Leave that one alone. I think, thank you. Not going back to that. That's disturbing and mad.
Yeah, and they made 2 more as well.
Yeah. Just going back to the guy in the bathroom that they found as well. Now, it was a sunny day. I'm guessing he'd just opened up the petrol station.
That's right.
Or the gas station when it started. And yet when she opened the door on him, he was saying, "Kill me." So he's still conscious in there. And so you have to think, all of them, the police lady, if she survived, I don't know, she kind of was clawing at the ceiling when she was dragged off. You have to think that their minds are still there going, please, burn us now. Because he survived all day, if not more.
Yeah, I know.
In that sort of situation.
Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that until I thought about that guy on the toilet again. There you go.
Yeah. It is interesting, those kind of moments where you sort of look back on it like that and you kind of go, oh, hang on. Yeah, actually, maybe I've missed something about this. Oh, hang on. This is even ickier than I thought. This is even worse.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
I know I said I thought that guy who played Dennis was the best actor in this film. Clearly, the worst actor was that sheriff.
Yeah. She.
Oh no! You're gonna come with me now. I'm gonna point my gun. Points gun.
Yeah. It's just like I don't know who she was. I've never seen her as an actress anywhere else. But there was definitely a moment where I was watching that and I was going, only a complete fool would not be listening to 3 people, not just one person, but 3 people going, you have to get out of the way. There's something out there. Please get out of the way. You're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, you're safe now. I'm here. It's like, no, you don't understand. There is a thing outside. And she's still going, yeah, but you're fine now. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. that was definitely a moment of plot necessity. It was just like, we need to get a radio in here. We need to have a moment of tension. How are we going to do it? And that's like I say, that was the only schlocky bit for me that really. It didn't derail it, but it definitely made me kind of go, "Oh, come on, you're better than this film."
Clunky.
You're better than this film. You've been doing well all the way up to this point. With very little. There's no need to be like that.
No, it felt clunky for me. I know you kind of needed a radio there of such or some means of escape, but it just felt so clunky. Oh, I recognise you. You're from 4 states away, but I still recognise your posters being all over the place. Points gun.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, everyone's looking for you, and then it's like, and my radio doesn't work now. All of a sudden. It was just like, oh, please don't do this. Don't go down the full schlock route, because it threatened to tip the whole film over and suddenly turn into like, right, okay, we've done all our original stuff. Here comes the cliche. Yeah. But it didn't. It pulled it back. I've got to give it, props. It did a very, very good job of getting out of that. It was just clearly that bit was just there to give you a small semblance of hope when you see that radio, and you can do the whole tense thing of getting them out of it with the radio.
Yeah,
and it was
There was a couple of things where I thought it was going to go cliche again, where all 3 of them had come out of the freezer after the arm situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going back behind the counter again. They went behind the counter about 4 or 5 times, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they were looking for something. I forget which they're looking for. But then the guy who, like the younger guy, leant against where the radio, he tried to get the radio from. And I was thinking, there's an open hole there, and you've just had that monster come through that hole there.
Yeah. You're
going to get grabbed there. This is when you're going to be taken out. Yeah. And it didn't do that. So I suppose it kind of won on that respect, because I was thinking that, and it didn't quite go the full hog.
No, she goes. It's when the lady goes and grabs like a big box of beer and it just sticks it in the hole, and I'm like, yes, sense right there. It was just like, oh, nice, I like that.
Yep.
Little details like that. Because it's just clearly someone had looked at that film and just gone, well, why didn't they? Why wouldn't they? And that I think that's the thing. That's the thing that makes it believable. Apart from the horrible cracking noises, it's just that you're all sitting there going, "Don't do that." Oh, they've thought of that. Oh, thank Christ. Cool. Anything else? Anything else you want to bring up, or anything you were thinking?
There was a thing on IMDb that I saw. Basically, someone brought up the thing of, here it is, the back door to the gas station is locked from the inside, preventing an exit. This is against fire code. To anyone to have a door that will prevent free exit, with the exception of correctional facilities or mental institutions. Someone actually wrote that.
Someone took some time to write that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Do we address it? I mean, because I got at least two ideas. The first one is it's a shitty little backdrop nowhere place. That's the first one, and the guy clearly didn't have a clue, and was just no one ever turns up. he's not exactly the most professional of establishments, shall we say.
That's what I thought, and he just opened up as well.
And secondly, it was locked from the inside, and he hadn't managed to open it. And the other bit that was locked was the padlock, and the padlock, she turned it around from the front.
Yeah.
So she actually pulled it from the front round to the inside, so she was going to unlock it, and it didn't happen because she didn't have the lock.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes people want to nitpick when they don't actually have anything to nitpick. They just don't like the film, so they're just looking for something.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of tongue-in-cheek with that sort of thing. Yeah, look, the health and safety officer clearly wasn't around on this episode, type thing. But I there's not a lot to dive into on this thing. That's the problem.
No,
it's wafer thin but fun, and I had fun. I suppose the only thing I was waiting for is when they started doing all the lighter fluids, and you're like, well, that's clearly going to come back and bite you, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, it wasn't super schlocky because just as it was all going horribly wrong, I thought if they set that off and the whole place catches fire, forcing them out, then I'm going to be pretty pissed off. But by the time it actually did, it was at a point where they had no choice, and the other character, the other bloke, had basically turned around and said, "You do know this is just going to set fire to your whole fucking door." And the other two are like, "No, it'll be fine. We'll get out. And it's just like they were right in many ways, but on the other hand, so was he, and the fact that they resisted he made them resist lighting that fucking thing until it was too late.
Yeah.
Until they had no other options, suddenly made a lot more sense to me. I thought that was quite good. Because if it had just been like they just light it and then 5 minutes later they're like, oh shit, we're still trapped in here and now the door's on fire, I just would have gone, oh, for goodness sake. But the fact of the matter was they went to do it and the bloke was like, you're going to set yourselves on fire, you dozy bunch of twonks. And they're like, oh, all right, fine. And it forces the young guy to sort of think the problem out. And I thought, yeah, okay, that's cool. The one thing I was going to say was at the end, the whole thing kind of gets glossed over about where the creature or the virus or whatever it is from, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. I've mentioned it so many more times that we don't need to know the origin of something. But there is a couple of references to the fact that the forest is like completely untouched for millennia. Some of the oldest trees in this forest are like 400-500 years old. Mm-hmm. Which kind of leads you to believe that there's more of this thing sort of in the forest. It's just something that's just naturally evolved out there. A bit like cordyceps. You know what they are, right? Elton?
No.
Oh, there's a little real life nature's a fucking nightmare thing for you.
Oh no.
Cordyceps. Oh, you'll love them. You might know as soon as I tell you what they do. Okay. Basically, they're a type of fungus, and they affect different creatures depending on what type, where they are and how they have to grow. But essentially, the famous example is that the cordyceps puts out like spores. The spores get absorbed into the skin of ants, and the poor old ant that gets infected basically loses its mind, and the cordyceps makes it climb up a tree, bite its jaws into the wood, and not release the jaws until the cordyceps itself grows out of the ant.
Oh.
And there it will grow on the tree and take over the tree. And then if another ant comes along, gets some spores, that ant will again turn into a zombie and then wander off away from the hive, find a tree, climb the tree, lock its jaws on while still alive, and then the cordyceps eats it alive and grows again.
This is an Australian thing, isn't it?
No, it's not. Oh,
Is
no,
it not?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. There are cordyceps all over the place, my friend. And there are that's one of the horror things that kind of leads to games like Last of Us and the book/film Girl with All the Gifts.
Yeah.
That the cordyceps could eventually end up passing over to humans. So you get the spore. The spore makes you go a bit zombie-like, and you go off to recreate another cordyceps, which then spores. So basically, it's like a mushroom that turns you into a zombie. Yeah.
Some people got on their bingo card for December this year.
Yeah, I was going to say the 2020 bingo card has got cordyceps in your garden. So it's even money at this point.
I wouldn't put it past it, bastard. Yeah.
So
Fuck this noise. I'm looking at pictures of this. This is creepy as craps.
Yeah, dude. Now, see, you're getting into cordyceps, and then you're getting into all that sort of stuff, and you go, if that's the case, and if this thing is let's just say for argument's sake, it is a cordyceps of some kind. Does that mean that when they get away and they're wandering off back through the road, through the forest, that they're just as likely to come across it again?
Oh, man.
You're still freaking out over the cordyceps, aren't you? You're still looking at pictures of it. I can tell.
I have pictures here, yes, definitely. Because I've been through ants, found a moth, and like, oh, fuck that noise. Then I found a cricket, and no! That's creepy.
Yeah, man. Fun, cordyceps time.
There's that last shot in there, isn't there, of some sort of beaver or some sort of...
a fox or something, isn't it?
Yeah, something. And it does all the clicky stuff, which I thought was great. I know I've already said that, but yeah.
Yeah.
There is potential. I wouldn't want to see a sequel because it's going to be gash.
Oh, yeah. Goes without saying. Yeah.
It's going to be terrible.
Yeah. Because it would only be the same thing again, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, just slightly bigger.
Yeah, or it'll do what Jim's saying. It'll turn into a kaiju. Just go stomping through towns or something. But... yeah, there's two things. Basically, it looks like sequelitis, and secondly, do you actually think they make it back because they're walking back through the forest that the thing came from?
Oh, do they make it back? I hadn't
maybe
really
a big forest
got
good odds. Depending on how many squirrels have already got spines on them, doesn't it? Really?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Because those spines were tough enough to cut through a radiator.
Yeah.
So they could just wander around and just step on it.
Oh, it's one of them finishes or endings to a movie where you sat there going, are they? Aren't they? Wonder what's going on there. And there's no need to change it. And the more I think about it leaves you questioning.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm giving it a bit more service than it actually deserves, but it still does ask that question of, will they make it? Will they get back to the civilization? Is it going to happen again? Blah, 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 blah. Are there anyone going to believe them, etc.? Yeah, it's not quite the thing, but it's got elements there, hasn't it?
Yeah. And it's definitely got moments where you're kind of sitting there going, well, this can't just be over. It can't just end here with sort of like it's going to randomly stay in the forest for another 400 or 500 years until it's discovered again. Because whatever it was came out of the bush at that bloke.
Yep.
And if that's the case, then it's obviously moving.
Yes.
So it's encroaching into humanity. So is there an eco message in there then? That the more we dig into the forest, the more shit like this we're going to start finding?
No, not in this one, because I would have expected that to be like the Fern Gully thing, where they're starting to dig up a bit too deep into the forest, and that wasn't the case in this movie.
No.
That petrol station had been there for years, and he'd been testing that bell for years as well as he walked out. That was his routine in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's all right. It's just I was wondering if there was maybe more to it than just monster in the park. But you know, there is. I mean, there's literally nothing on the wiki at all. So I literally have no idea about themes or ideas or anything like that. It's just. But I was just wondering.
Oh, someone does them as soup. What is the matter with people?
What?
Chicken, cordyceps flour, and ginseng soup base. Fuck off.
And then they eat a bat, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you get 2020, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is indeed.
I think we're gearing up for 2021. This is sequelitis. You got to go bigger and harder. Yeah. Boss level 2021. Cordyceps soup. I mean, seriously. There's a meme going around with like a picture of a dead animal or something, and then there's a guy from Wuhan, or with a sign behind him saying Wuhan, and he's going, "Are you going to finish that?" It's getting like that, isn't it? It's just going to be like, yeah, here we go. What we got next? Man. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, on that cheerful note, any last thoughts, or shall we move on?
Let's leave it on that happy note.
I think we should leave it on that happy note. Yeah, cordyceps soup, everyone.
Yeah.
See what you can get out of that, and see if we can up the stakes for 2021. Right, okay then. Well, in which case, it's over to Elton for this week's film. What film are we going to be covering, mate?
Well, I've thought long and hard about this, and there were a few favourites I wanted to stick on, and none of them are really on any streaming services, which was very disappointing. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go with something horror-based, mystery-based, thriller-based, and my job-based.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And so we're going for 2010's Devil.
Wow. Okay, cool. Devil. Nice.
Yes. I know we've touched on opening the doors of hell, etc., but I thought I'd bring the man in himself. And also we can have a little talk about lifts as well, because that is a horror to me.
Wow. Busman's holiday for you.
Yep.
Eh? Nice.
Yep.
Nice. That's good. Have you actually seen this film or not?
I actually saw this in the cinema. Weirdly enough, I'd gone up to... Where did I go up to? I'd gone up to Middlesbrough, or Stockton-on-Tees, sorry, for a training course on lifts. And I thought, I wonder what's at the cinema. Because I didn't want to hang around with the idiots that I was working with at the time. I was like, I'll go see the cinema instead. Snuck out and went to see a film about a lift.
Nice. That's great. Good work. Yeah. That's just, that's awesome, mate. Well done. So you went to see a killer lift movie?
Kind of, yes. Yeah. Totally regretted it. But, I haven't seen it since the cinema. And I remember coming out going, that was a film. It killed an hour or so. But I'm interested to see what time has done to this.
Okay. It
is written by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalama ding dong.
Yep.
Shaggy. Okay. Right. Well, Jim, have you seen this before?
I've not, actually. It was when I was still annoyed about it was the trees. So I gave it a miss.
Yeah.
I've since got back on board with M. Night after The Visit and Split.
Oh, yes.
So I've had this kind of, I should give that a go, actually, because that was kind of his Actually, this is like kind of an apology tour film.
Yeah, a difficult second album movie.
So so I'm looking forward to seeing this because I've not seen it. So
okay, well,
yeah.
I'll be honest, I have not seen this either. I haven't seen this at all. I know Darren has because I recall him seeing this and reporting back on how his week was once, and if I recall correctly, I don't think he was terribly taken with it. I may be misremembering, but I don't think he was particularly happy about it.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe Darren will be off again next week.
Yeah, he'll be making his excuse and off next week. So, so we'll find out next week, I guess. But yeah, so that's on Netflix, is it?
It is on Netflix, yes. It's a nice short movie, 80 minutes as well, so not too hard.
Which interestingly, so was this one, wasn't it? I thought that was a good thing. Nice in and out, nice and quick monster movie mystery thing. Always good. Cool. Okie dokie. Right. Well, in which case, that's that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got anything you want to feedback on, anything we've said in this podcast, or if you've seen Splinter after all of our effusing about it, then send us some feedback. Send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or join on the Facebook group, and that is facebook.com/groups/blackdogpodcast. Or you can talk to the Twitter, because someone has to, and that's at blackdogpodcast.com. So before we move on and we head on off into the distance and wait for the cordyceps soup to basically wipe us all out, Jim, do you want to tell us what's happening on Hypnagogia this week?
I've just dropped a suitably seasonal episode featuring looking at two scary Halloween radio specials from the 70s. And I've also just released a reading of a classic Cthulhu Mythos novella on my From the Great Library of Dreams podcast, The Horror of the Penmire. And I think Thursday this week, Zombievers is coming out on Commentary Club.
Oh, my life. Zombievers.
Oh, that was on my list.
What's next? Bear Kano? Jesus. Okay. One last thing before I move on to you, Elton. Where were you on the potato list for this one?
For this one, I had fun with this, so this was low down.
Okay, that's cool.
This was low down.
Fair enough. Okie dokie. Well, I just thought I'd ask because I didn't ask last week for last week's movie, so. Right, well, in which case, brilliant. So, Jim, all your stuff can be found at hypnagogia.com.
Yes, indeedy.
Great. And what about you, Elton? What's going on over at the Shonky Lab?
I haven't done anything for the Shonky Lab because I'm looking forward to my week off. I might do some during then. I just haven't had time and or the inclination, just been burnt out. Doing work and keeping the wheels of industry turning. Yeah. So hopefully I might get round to doing one, maybe two next week. We'll see how time goes. But there is a healthy back catalogue if people want to dive in on that.
Yes, there is. And you can find it all over at rogue2media.com.
That's it, yes.
There you go. Brilliant. Okay, there's nothing for me to report for anything. I've not been doing any drawing because my brain has just fried, as everyone probably would have guessed from listening to last week's one. And so just listen to this podcast, share it, like it, leave reviews, that sort of thing. All good, all appreciated. Do the same for Hypnagogia and for Rogue 2 stuff. And that's it. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Elton. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
My pleasure.
And yes, we will see you all next week for Devil, a.k.a. Dodgy Lift, the movie. So until then, take care. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all soon. Tatty, bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Oh, bollocks to it.